Welcome to part 2 of IELTS Listening Practice Test 1. You'll have 2 more audio sections to listen to and answer questions for. And as always, make sure that you're reading through the questions before and check your answers also. In section 3, you'll hear a conversation between a university lecturer and 2 students discussing their ideas for an upcoming presentation. You've got just under 1 minute to have a read through the questions now. Please do note that the first lady to speak is the university lecturer. After that, the 2 students, Carla and Rob, begin to talk as well.
All right, now let's have a discussion with your partner regarding your presentations on renewable energy. You should have completed most of the research by now. Share your thoughts and discuss the organisation of your presentation and what further steps you need to take.
Okay, Rob, I think we chose a great topic, alternative sources of energy to replace fossil fuels. It's definitely a pressing issue that we need to address.
Definitely. And we know that renewable energy sources like wind and solar power are becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, it's amazing how much technology has improved in recent years. We can now harness energy from the sun and wind in ways we never thought possible.
Right. But we need to be mindful of the fact that not all renewable energy sources are equal. Some have a greater impact on the environment than others.
Exactly. For example, large-scale hydroelectric power plants can have a significant impact on the environment and local communities.
And that's where we need to strike a balance. We need to find ways to generate clean energy while also preserving the environment and communities.
Agreed. And we also need to talk about the role of governments in promoting the use of renewable energy sources. They need to create policies and incentives to encourage people and companies to switch to cleaner sources of energy.
Definitely. And we need to educate the public about the benefits of renewable energy sources. Not everyone is aware of how much of a difference they can make in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and fighting climate change.
Absolutely. And we need to address the challenges that come with transitioning to renewable energy sources. For example, some communities may be dependent on fossil fuels for their livelihoods and need to be compensated in some way.
Yes, that's a valid concern. We also need to talk about the cost of renewable energy and how it compares to traditional energy sources. The upfront cost may be higher, but the long-term benefits make it worth it.
So, I think that's enough to get us started.
All right. I think we should start with some background information on the different types of renewable energy sources and how they work.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We could also have some graphs and charts to illustrate the growth in the use of renewable energy over the years.
And we could talk about some successful case studies of communities and countries that have successfully transitioned to renewable energy sources.
That's a great idea. A friend in another class told me that well-researched case studies often give a boost to your overall final score. Also, another small idea. We could discuss the future potential of renewable energy and the advancements that are currently being made.
Definitely. There's a lot of exciting work being done in the field, and we need to keep up with it. I'm sure people want to hear about it too.
So I think we're on the right track. We've got a lot of work to do, but I think we can put together a great presentation.
That was great. You both have some good ideas for your presentation on renewable energy. I especially liked your focus on both the current issues we're facing globally and action being taken to address the problem.
Thank you.
Yes, we're really trying to cover all the important aspects of this topic.
Yes, and that's important. However, I would suggest you also consider including some information on the current state of global climate change and its potential impact on coastal cities and settlements. This is a crucial aspect that can't be ignored.
That's a good point. We'll definitely add that to our presentation.
Another thing, make sure you also discuss some of the alternative approaches and solutions being proposed, maybe ideas that are less known currently. This will help your audience understand the different perspectives on the issue.
OK, we'll definitely include that.
And one more thing, make sure you clearly articulate the purpose of your presentation and what you want your audience to take away from it. This will give your presentation structure and coherence. It's best to open with a clear introduction and outline your goals and agenda.
Thank you for the feedback. We'll make sure to incorporate these suggestions into our presentation.
You're welcome. I'm sure it's going to be a great presentation. Just make sure to practice it a few times before the actual presentation day to build confidence and work out any kinks.
You now have 30 seconds just to check through your answers. In the final section, section 4, you'll hear a speech given all about the history of parks. You now have just under a minute to read through the question and try and familiarise yourself with the text. Section 4 will start now.
Parks are a common and much-loved aspect of our communities. They provide a place for people to relax, play, and create cherished memories. At its core, a park is a piece of land that has been protected and set aside for public use. It may be entirely natural or have some man-made elements, such as the planting of trees, bushes, and flowers. Parks often have regulations in place to ensure that activities within are appropriate and safe. This may include restrictions on certain behaviours or the provision of facilities such as playgrounds or sports fields. Maintaining the appearance of a park requires effort, including keeping grass trimmed to prevent the proliferation of insect pests. If a park is home to particularly special plants or trees, it may be referred to as a botanic garden and require a higher level of maintenance and care. In stark contrast to this, some parks may be designated as wilderness areas, meant to be left in their natural state and protected from development. These parks provide critical habitat for wild species, both plant and animal, and allow them to live and thrive without human disturbance. By preserving these parks, we are helping to protect the biodiversity of our planet. I would now like to focus on urban parks, which are the type of parks that are most commonly known to the public. These parks serve to protect natural landscapes within an urban setting, primarily for the purpose of passive recreation. This includes activities such as simply admiring the trees, relaxing in the grass, and other low-impact forms of enjoyment. Urban parks play a crucial role in providing a respite from the hustle and bustle of city life and are essential for maintaining the mental and physical well-being of urban dwellers. In a world where people are increasingly disconnected from nature, urban parks provide a critical opportunity for people to connect with the natural world, promoting a sense of peace, calm, and rejuvenation. It is important to note that parks, as we know them today, did not exist in the past. Just 1,000 years ago, the concept of parks was not necessary because there were already ample open spaces, forests, and wilderness areas surrounding cities and towns, such as in Europe. These forests were often dense and dark and posed a significant threat to people due to the presence of wild animals and the risk of getting lost. As a result, these forests became a source of folklore, with stories emerging about witches who lived in the forests, wolves and bears that threatened young children. The fear and awe that people had for these areas helped to shape the cultural and social norms of the time, and highlights the important role that parks and open spaces play in our lives today. However, as the human population continued to grow, the original wilderness and open spaces began to be diminished. Forests were cleared to make way for urban expansion, leading to increased pollution and further deforestation. The destructive impact of urban development and the demand for resources became apparent only with the onset of the Industrial Revolution. It was then that people realized the importance of preserving natural areas so that people could continue to have access to the beauty of nature that was rapidly disappearing. The preservation of natural areas is crucial to maintain a healthy balance between urban development and nature and to provide opportunities for people to connect with the natural world. It is also essential for protecting biodiversity and preserving the ecosystem services that nature provides, such as air and water purification, soil conservation, and carbon sequestration. The recognition of these benefits has led to the creation of parks and protected areas, and a growing appreciation for the importance of preserving natural spaces. Prince's Park in Liverpool is widely recognised as a landmark in the history of urban park design. It was the first park in the world that was specifically designed for public recreation, and its creation marked a turning point in the way that cities thought about open spaces. The park was established on land donated by a wealthy iron merchant, and its creation was made possible by the generosity of this benefactor and the foresight of the local council. At the time, many cities were experiencing rapid population growth, and there was growing concern about the need for safe and attractive public spaces where people could relax and enjoy nature. The local council recognised the importance of this new park, and they invested £5,000 to improve its appearance and hire a landscape designer to create an area that would become a model for future designs. Joseph Paxton, who was already well known for his design of the Crystal Palace, was hired to design the park. He created an outdoor space that was filled with winding paths, surrounded by shade, giving trees, and had a central lake that was surrounded by lush vegetation. The design of Prince's Park was a turning point in park design, and it quickly became a popular destination for local residents and visitors alike. The park was designed with the needs of the public in mind, and it became a symbol of the growing importance of public spaces in cities. The success of Prince's Park inspired other cities to create similar parks, and it is widely considered to be the inspiration for Central Park in New York.
And that is the end of IELTS Listening Practice Test 1. You now just have 30 seconds or so to check through your answers, take a look at the spelling and everything else, and then at the end of those 30 seconds you will be able to check your answers for the whole test, questions 1 to 40.